Coming up on Mountain News at 6, we hear from an Eastern Kentucky native in Florida bracing for Hurricane Milton. And as crews continue to help with cleanup efforts from Helene, they are also having to get ready for the next one.
And we'll have the latest on Milton coming up in a few minutes.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
As Category 3 Hurricane Milton makes its way toward Florida, crews of first responders are preparing for its impacts. But some of the other frontline workers stationed near the danger zone include those who are trying to stay on the air as the weather moves through. A Florida journalist with mountain roots told WYMT's Buddy Forbes what her station is seeing.
Safely evacuate the area.
After days of preparation and evacuation,
but it is, overwhelming for a lot of us.
Many Floridians are waiting for Hurricane Milton to make landfall over the communities they call home.
You need to prepare for catastrophic impacts. This is going to be a serious storm, one that could forever change communities that are still recovering from Helene.
Like Sarasota, where Eastern Kentucky native Melissa Ratliff has worked as a journalist for WWSB since 2020 and has moved inland with her station to continue covering the storm.
Who knows how long this is going to take? So we are camped up, we are ready to go, and I think everybody is super focused right now, and that's what we need. And we love the thoughts and prayers, but we have a job to do, and we're going to do it.
With National Guard crews still working to clean up from Hurricane Helene and surrounding cities being compared to ghost towns.
Never seen this for our coast at all, so this is something to take seriously.
Ratliff says the terror created an increase in traffic as people travel to find safer ground.
So the commute was very hard, and a lot of people were kind of waiting to see what the forecast was, but as it's gotten worse, we've seen a lot of people head out, and thankfully there are a lot of access to shelters for a lot of people in the area.
But even with the threat of mass destruction, she says the connection to community has never felt stronger.
We have a lot of this neighbors helping neighbors that is very, very similar to back home. It's got the same exact vibe as back home sometimes, and it's a comforting thing.
With her friends and family back home in Pike County keeping in contact as well.
They have been texting nonstop, so we're keeping in touch with all of them. I'm getting a lot of thoughts and prayers, but all together we know we can get through it, and we're going to get through it together.
Working through the weather, hunkered down with spirits high. Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
And we wish all the folks at our sister station in Sarasota and everybody that's going to be dealing with this our thoughts and prayers tonight as well. Ratliff says the situation does remind her of the July 2020 flood when she did come back to help us here at WYMT. She says the sense of camaraderie in her station and on the streets has been powerful. Hundreds of American Red Cross disaster workers are on the ground helping folks affected by hurricanes Helene and Milton. Red Cross officials say they are focused on providing shelter, food, relief supplies, and comfort. But they say the need has never been greater for more volunteers, both locally and nationally, with 2 major hurricanes in 2 weeks.
There's so many opportunities, whether it's something that it falls right in line with your current interest, or you have something where you're like, I've always wanted to try. We can help folks gain those experiences and exposure. You're always going to be doing something good and beneficial for your community. It's right in your neighborhood that you're helping those folks.
You can learn more about the need for volunteers both here at home and nationally, and the services the Red Cross provides Monday night at 7 on Issues and Answers. As those in Florida brace for the impacts of Hurricane Milton, crews here in Kentucky have boots on the ground and are ready to assist. WYMT's Madison Carmouche spoke to power companies about the plans in place to help the state restore power.
Power companies are lending resources to Georgia and the Carolinas following Hurricane Helene, and now Florida ahead of Hurricane Milton.
Depending on the magnitude that hits Tampa, they could be there 2 to 3 weeks. Florida's a little more equipped to handle hurricanes.
VP of Engineering and Operations for Jackson Energy Co-op, Ryan Henderson, says more than 200 workers are spread throughout multiple states.
So we're watching the weather. We watch the weather all the time. Luckily, the forecast is really nice for the next 10 days, 2 weeks. If we see anything changing, we can bring our guys back at any time.
Kentucky Utilities also sent more than 100 people ahead of Hurricane Milton, but this comes after getting Kentucky customers' power restored.
We had more than 400 crews, 400 folks come from out of state to help us. And so we do this as part of a partnership with other utilities in our region.
The officials with both companies remind customers they will not pay the price for crews helping our southern neighbors.
If the devastation is bad enough, it can be declared a FEMA event by the governor and the president, where there's some assistance to help us pay for that so that our members don't have to bear the full cost of the damage.
Henderson adds this is the largest mutual aid assistance Kentucky Cooperative has ever seen. In Jackson County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
And again, just to reiterate, Hurricane Milton is expected to hit the western coast of Florida as a Category 3 hurricane in the next few hours, maybe as early as around 9 o'clock, and then move right across the state to the Atlantic Ocean.
All right, here's the latest out of Sarasota, Florida, courtesy of our sister station, WWSB. You can see right there the temperature is 79 degrees. The winds are still coming out of the east at 26 miles per hour, but look at the wind gust, gusting as high as 60 miles per hour, and you can see the rain, how it's just going sideways there in Sarasota, something we'll be monitoring over the next several hours there. And here's the latest on Milton as of the top of the hour. Category 3 hurricane, winds are at 120 miles per hour, so it is weakening as we go into the next several hours as forecasted. Pressure is going up. It's at 948 millibars. It's moving northeast at 15 miles per hour. And you can see the latest storm track, how it's going to hit Florida as a Category 3. And then it's going to exit as a Category 1. And then by Thursday afternoon, we'll be talking about a tropical storm. And then by Friday, it'll just be a low pressure system off out in the Atlantic. Now, with that being said, hurricane warnings are issued for the central part of Florida. Tropical storm warnings are issued from Fort Myers, just south of Fort Myers, south to the Miami area. Closer to home, all is quiet on live pinpoint Doppler radar. This will get a break for the next several days. And right now we're seeing plenty of sunshine and temperatures in the 60s and 70s. I'll have your complete first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Steve.
All right, thank you very much. A man has entered a guilty plea in connection with the death of a 3-year-old. Jordan Taylor pleaded guilty to the murder of Amora Smallwood. That incident happened last year. Taylor also pleaded guilty to first-degree sodomy and first-degree strangulation. Sentencing for Taylor is set for next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Now, this is not the only case that Jordan Taylor is involved in. In an indictment filed last year, Taylor was charged with the murder of a baby that happened in Clay County back in 2020. He was accused of smothering that child, according to the indictment. A school aide at a school in Floyd County was reportedly arrested for suspected intoxication during school hours. The incident reportedly happened on Monday at Duff Allen Central Elementary. After the situation was reported by school colleagues, sheriff's deputies started an investigation that led to the aide being arrested and charged with alcohol intoxication. In Wayne County, a Monticello man is facing charges stemming from an incident where he reportedly almost hit a deputy's patrol vehicle. That happened yesterday on Kentucky 90. A deputy was heading eastbound when the vehicle crossed the center line and almost hit the officer's vehicle. After a traffic stop was conducted, police say they smelled an odor of marijuana from the car. Joseph McCoy was taken to the Wayne County Detention Center. Republican U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell says nearly $2 million in federal funds is coming to Kentucky to help combat opioid abuse. The Department of Health and Human Services will distribute the money to 3 organizations in Kentucky. Baptist Health in Corbin will receive $750,000. Memorial Hospital in Manchester will get $500,000, and West Care, Kentucky and Ashcamp will receive more than $650,000. Folks in Magoffin County are mourning the loss of a student killed in a car crash. In a post on social media, Magoffin County High School posted that they are sending their deepest sympathies to the family and friends of Kayla Elam. The post said she was a senior at Magoffin County High School. Elam was killed in a car crash that we previously reported on in Floyd County last weekend. Here are the funeral arrangements for Elam. The visitation is going on right now and will continue all day tomorrow and any time prior to the funeral services on Friday at the head of Coon Creek Church in Salyersville. The funeral is set for Friday at 1 p.m. also at the church. Elam was 17 years old.
All right, weather headlines for tonight. Sunglasses will be needed for quite some time. We'll see a mild weekend, but 50s on the high end. Oh yeah, they're in the forecast, and I'll tell you when in a few minutes.
And we hear from students and staff with one Perry County school about how things are going since returning to their building.